Welcome to Jack's Curated Business Ideas. My name is Juan Ogungbe, and I'm very pleased to be here with my friend and colleague again, Jack Lookman. And today he is going to talk to you about summarized biographies of selected demographics. So, hello, Jack, over to you.
Thank you very much, my bro. Thank you very much. I hope you had a great week. And yes, we missed you. It's nice to have you back. Maybe I should go and put on my makeup and my lipstick before I start. But no, never start. Thank you very much, Egbo. Thank you. Greetings to one and all. Today's topic is summarized biographies of selected demographics. And this is part of Jack's Curated Business Ideas. Now, just as a brief introduction, biographies are of immense benefit. They share stories of different personalities, and people could learn useful life lessons and avoid unnecessary pitfalls. However, not everyone has affordable access to biographies. And in this fast-paced world, not everyone has the patience to read lengthy biographies. Are there alternative options? Are these affordable? Is there a business opportunity? Now let's dive in. What's the idea? Excuse me. This Jack's Curated Business Idea is about curating summarized biographies, usually about 1 page long, and sharing the content in different formats and on different platforms, and probably in different languages. Now, what's the inspiration for the idea? Jobs are hard to come by. The internet presents loads of opportunities. Value could be added to society, and crime could fall, etc. Now, is this idea, is it new? Now, if the idea is executed following this business model, it will apparently be a novel curated business idea. Now, these biographies are for which demographics? Now, you need to decide the demographies of your content. Content about the top 1% of financially successful people may probably be too competitive. You may consider creating content about professionals, entrepreneurial journeys, politicians, remarkable life journeys, immigrants, successful mentors, etc. These could be location specific or they could be global. Now, niche. You need to decide on your niche. It could be actors, politicians, historians, professionals, entrepreneurs, etc. Now, will it be fact or fiction? It shall mainly be fact. However, depending on your discretion, you might sweeten it or flavor it. That's the narrative with a bit of fiction. This shall be your business decision. Making it fiction may reduce or avoid conflict, but may build mistrust. My suggestion, however, is to make it fact. but with carefully worded narratives. Will the content be long or will it be short? Well, the content should be short. Each content should be short, sharp, and concise. Preferably 1 page long. That's about 300 to 400 words per narrative. We live in a fast-paced world. Most people have little or no time to spare. If it's concise, you stand a greater chance of your content being consumed. Now let's talk about platforms. Some platforms to consider are social media, blog, membership site, podcast, Amazon, YouTube, blogger.com, etc. Most of these are free to use. As your income increases, you may consider investing in alternative others. Now, let's talk a bit about the process. You may want to source the content, summarize it, create suitable content, publish it on different platforms in different formats and probably different languages. You may want to do your marketing, monetize, reinvest in the business, make passive income, and then repeat the whole process. You may also want to invest in freelancers as necessary. Let's talk about language or languages. The content could be in English or languages of choice. There could also be translations as necessary. Now, let's talk about sourcing the content. These could be from biographies, autobiographies, memoirs, internet, celebrations of life, that's after people have passed on, interviews, etc. Now, who is your target audience? These could include children, students, youths, adults, educational institutions, etc. Okay, is this a digital business? Yes, it's a predominantly digital business. Therefore, you shall become a digital entrepreneur, just like Jack Lookman. Shall the content be constructive? Apart from making money, the purpose of the business is to make societal and generational impacts. Therefore, the content should be constructive and positive. It's not just about being critical, but about also making constructive narratives on making bad good and good better. The overriding aim is to make society better. Now let's talk about volume. Most of the content shall be digital, either as ebooks, blogs, podcasts, membership site, membership site content, social media content, etc. Hence, it should reach very wide audiences globally. Let's talk about quality control. Quality is of great importance. Your integrity is at stake. So you may want to consider investing resources in quality control. That way, your content could become evergreen and you could optimize income and make great impact. You may want to ask, could I leverage artificial intelligence, which is otherwise known as AI? Well, in my opinion, the answer is yes, you could. It could help streamline your processes, help with quality and efficiency, and make you smarter and more competitive in delivering your value proposition. Let's talk about formats. You could create content in different formats, in text, audio, and video, or a combination of all of this. Is this a side hustle or a full-time job? You could start this as a side hustle. If it becomes very successful, you may consider doing it as a full hustle. Let's talk about marketing. Like they say, marketing is the soul of every business. You may consider digital marketing, social media marketing, Google adverts, podcast adverts, WhatsApp adverts, Telegram adverts, etc. Now let's talk about business registration. You may start small. As soon as you start generating income, you may want to consider registering the business as a sole trader. If there's great business success, consider registering as a limited liability company. You could include similar business pursuits under this umbrella. Now, what are the tools of the trade? You need relevant skills, you need content, you need platforms to share the content, you need a digital device and internet access. You may need a team as necessary, especially when you grow big. This could be freelancers. You need a bank account. You need to register the business at the right time. You need to do effective marketing. You might also consider investing in artificial intelligence tools like Spicelo, etc. Now let's talk about research and development. You need to do relevant research. Is anyone doing something similar? Could you learn from their doing? Could you avoid their pitfalls? Is there space in the market for you? Is there potential for monetization? Could you carve your own niche? Could the business become profitable? Could the business be scaled? Are there opportunities to monetize? Does the business require capital or a lot of capital? Could you do it as a side hustle or full hustle? Will it consume time and resources? Excuse me. How soon could you break even, etc.? Now let's talk about business plan. You need to have a business plan. This will guide the direction of your business. It should be updated periodically. It shall include financial figures, strategy, marketing plan, monetization plan, etc. Now let's talk about legalities. You need to be aware of and address issues like intellectual rights, conflict, management, terms and conditions of platforms, disclaimers, regulations, etc. Now, what are the requirements for this business? You require a digital device or devices. You require internet access. You require content. You require human resources as necessary. You require relevant skills. You require a business plan. You might require funding as necessary, especially if you want to scale the business. You might also require artificial intelligence software as necessary, etc. Now, what value is an offer? You shall be creating and sharing great inspirational and informational content in different formats for your target demographics. These shall be many concise biographies which could help shape minds and societies very constructively. Now, where could you source freelancers? You could source them from different freelance platforms, such as peopleperhour.com, freelancer.com, upworks.com, etc. You could also source them from via social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. Now, what are the benefits and opportunities that this business idea offers? Well, these include monetization opportunities, passive income, positive societal engineering, evergreen content, tax opportunities for government, etc. Now let's talk a bit about threats and weaknesses. Well, there could be conflict, intellectual rights issues, problems with platforms, intellectual theft, copycats, competition, etc. Now, what problem are you solving? You are basically sharing life experiences with the intention of adding societal value. You shall share best practices to be copied and pitfalls to be avoided. You shall enrich lives in user-friendly formats. The content shall not be overwhelming, and this shall be accessible for free or for cheap. Now you may ask, could I start this business for free? Well, the answer is yes, almost free. If you have a digital device and an internet connection, you are virtually good to start. Excuse me. Now let's talk about collaborations. You could either engage freelancers, do it yourself, or leverage artificial intelligence in creating the content. You could also engage collaborators to complement your skills or resource shortages. Now let's talk about funding, especially if you want to scale. You could self-fund, involve investors or collaborators. You could explore crowdfunding, etc. Now, part of my favorite part of my presentations, profit sharing. If you involve collaborators, investors, or other stakeholders, you need to have a profit sharing formula. Now, the profit sharing formula app may be suitably considered. Now, let's talk about monetization plan. You could monetize via sales of products and services, adverts on your platforms, affiliate marketing, etc. Now, do you need an office for this business model? You don't really need an office to execute this business model. You could do it from your home and execute collaborative efforts online. However, if the business becomes very successful, you may consider having an office. Now let's talk about scaling. Excuse me. You could scale by exploring different niches, different languages, collaborations, franchising, private label rights, etc. Now, how much is needed to start the business? Well, I already touched on this a bit before, but your major initial financial commitments shall be for the digital device and internet access. As the business progresses, you may reinvest in marketing, freelancers, etc. Therefore, apart from the above, you could start with little or no capital. Now, let's talk about budgeting, costing, and pricing. You need to cost the required resources, price your products and services accordingly, and have a budget which will be useful, especially as you seek funding for the business. You also need to have a financial forecast as a guide and target while executing the business. This shall include information about when you are likely to break even, projected income and expenditure, profits, etc. Now, a disclaimer. This presentation is basically an idea. Great financial rewards are not guaranteed, although there are potentials for such. You need to carry out due diligence and perfect the idea to hopefully reap great financial rewards. At Jack Lookman Limited, our mission is to empower and inspire generations by leveraging the internet. Here ends the presentation. Thank you very much for your time. Ireo Irekabiti.
Thank you very much, Jack, for this enlightening talk that you've given us today. The question I have to ask, first of all, is you've mentioned monetizing to an extent in discussing this issue, but can you explain more about how the monetizing process would work, please?
Okay. Basically, the products on offer. First of all, you are summarizing biographies of
Mhm.
write-ups about people's lives and all of that. So you could have different products and services from this business model. On the one hand, you can create books, which is going to be each page will be a summary of each individual's life. So you might have several biographies which you've summarized. So for all intents and purposes, assuming it takes 100 pages or something like that, you would have curated that content and then you can sell the books. Either you can,
So, sorry, can I ask you here? So that would mean compiling like a collection or
yes,
anthology
yes,
of these
of
biographies of
biographies, yes. But they're going
in
to be
one.
summaries. They're going to be, so they're not going
Right
to
now, I
be,
understand that they're summaries, yes.
yeah. So
They're
there'll
summaries,
be
like they're like sort of one page type profiles
page
that
summaries.
with a précis of that person's life story.
Yes. So, for example, yourself, I might, for example, if you're going to have content about our schoolmates, for example, if we're using that as our demography, so I might do a one-page write-up about you. I might do about myself and other people, and then that makes up the book. So now, apart from the book, one could do a blog whereby you do them one by one on each blog post. You could do it as an ebook. That's also almost the same content. You could do it as audio. That means
Hmm.
there are some software which you can use. That's if you don't want to do the audio yourself. You can either
Hmm.
outsource it or you can use artificial intelligence to do the audio and
Hmm.
maybe the video. So you can do
Hmm.
that on platforms like YouTube, social media, membership site, etc. So those are some of the different platforms that you could use to create those contents. Now to monetize for the paperback, that's straightforward. People buy the book and then you get your royalty from Amazon or wherever. If it's going to be maybe an ebook or a blog, there are ways in which you can monetize those platforms. On the one hand, if you are selling the ebook would be much cheaper than the paperback. But in the
Right.
ebook, just as you're writing content, you could put in links to products and services, either of yourself or other people. You could put in maybe adverts if you want of other people, and you get paid for featuring their products and services in your ebook. For
Hmm.
example, if you do online courses or you do mentoring and coaching or something like that, you could put in
Hmm.
relevant links on your blog or ebook and you can monetize that way. So those are some of the ways you can monetize. If you also decide to have a membership site where people pay to have access to the content in the membership site, then you can also make money from that. And then if you're putting the content on platforms like YouTube, Facebook, etc., as you are posting it on Facebook, or as for example, YouTube, if you meet their thresholds for monetizing, I think it's now about maybe 4,000 watch hours and about, I think they've reduced the number of subscribers to 500. So from then, people can advertise on your website, on your YouTube platform, and then you get a share of that. And then also, I forgot to mention on a platform like Blogger, that's if you're doing a blog, Google, there's something called Google AdSense. So
Right.
if you qualify for it, Google AdSense will automatically put adverts on your platform, on your website, and then they do this automatically. And then once people are purchasing whatever products and services are being advertised, you get your own commission. So those are some of the ways in which you can monetize.
What about platforms like Patreon?
Patreon is another way. I've not really fully explored Patreon, but I think with Patreon, I can't quite remember the monetization process, but I know people monetize Patreon as well. I
I
think
thought the idea of Patreon is that make people pay subscriptions. So they pay a regular amount. They promise to pay so much per month or per week or whatever it is. And then there's an ongoing content that is provided.
yeah, I think yeah, that could be another option. I've heard of Patreon, but it did not 100% resonate with me. That's why I didn't look deeper into it. But yes, some people monetize through Patreon. That's another option. So at the bottom line is that most of the content and the monetizing is going to be digital. And because if you do due diligence and you give good quality content, it could end up being an evergreen, and then you could
Mhm,
end up making passive income. That means
mhm,
passive income doesn't mean you don't do anything at all. It just means
mhm,
you put in less effort, you put initial effort, and then you put in a bit of maintenance, which may be marketing or things like that. But the good thing is that you can continue getting residual income, especially if the content is rich. So those are some of the ways you can monetize.
mhm. Okay, so in an ideal world, if you were going to sort of create, say, from in this moment that we're speaking, you were going to create your sort of hypothetical compilation of biographies that are summarized, who would be some of the names of people that you think that you would include in such an anthology or collection?
Well, it depends on the niche I choose. If I choose the niche, for example, of my schoolmates, they probably are going to be one of them. I might even put in a bit of information about myself and a few others. Our president of our alumni association, he did very well as the president of the association. He might also be included. That's
Who do
Kashim.
you, who do you mean? Oh,
Kashim. Kashim.
oh, I see. Not Leke Oshuni.
Well, Leke is the current one, but before him
Yeah.
was Kashim.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
he will probably be there and a few others. But depending on the niche, if I want the anthology to be about maybe entrepreneurs, I might get, you know, successful entrepreneurs or things like that. So I don't have any specific names in mind, but obviously part of the way this content will be curated, especially if people have passed on or they are very old. If you have access to their biographies or autobiographies or memoirs, then one can curate that content from there. So you just bring out the juicy bits of that content and then republish it as your part of your anthology.
So, what would make it different from, say, going to check someone's Wikipedia page?
Oh, big question. First and foremost, this is not only about celebrities or the top end of the success stream. It's also for normal day, quote and unquote, normal people like you and me. So
Or for people who are not necessarily famous, but
people
might
are,
be doing multiple things.
yeah,
They're
that may
just
be
simply
doing different
are
things.
just
So
not, are not famous as
yeah, they
such.
may not be famous, they may not be rich and all of that, but they have made impact, or they are successful, or they are people that people can relate with. So I think the overriding aim is to add societal value. So for example, ordinary people like myself, there are some positive things we do in life, which for all intents and purpose, we don't want to broadcast or to celebrate, but we are still doing good things. So things like that may be included in such biographies. And like I said in the presentation, the top 1% of financially successful people, that niche is already saturated because everybody wants to be a millionaire, to be famous, etc., etc. But when you're talking about niches like either professionals, maybe entrepreneurs, etc., things like that, that way the competition may not be as much. And then even this type of content, the anthology, hopefully, if children pick it up, you are putting in positive values into their minds. For example, students, for example, undergraduates, etc., they would probably get a lot of value. It is just like when we were in school, we used to learn civics.
Hmm.
I don't know if you still remember, we used to learn
Oh,
civics.
very much so.
Yeah, I'm not sure they do civics in school anymore. So at the end of the
Who
day,
taught you civics?
sorry?
Who taught you civics?
Oh no, I
Were you
can't.
there when were you in KC and Aguirre Buchanan time?
I think I got in just as he was leaving. I think he had
Okay.
just left when I got in.
Right,
So I can't remember who taught us physics, if it was Mr. Taiwo or somebody like that. But
right.
those are some of the values which were ingrained into us.
Because
So,
we were always taught by the PKC, you see.
okay.
Civics was always taught by PKC.
Okay. So maybe Agiobu, no, maybe Imana. Maybe Imana, I think Imana was the PKC when I was there. So I guess this is just almost similar to civics because you are ingraining positive values into the
Hmm.
younger generation. And then hopefully if they move with those type of values, they shall achieve greater things. And then hopefully the community, society, and humanity will be a better place to live in, not
Hmm.
just chasing money and fame and all of those things. But there are some values which we learned when we were younger. So those type of values may be put into our younger ones, and hopefully the society will be enriched.
Hmm. Okay, so thank you very much. I find it really interesting because, I mean, stories always are very interesting in any case. And there will always be someone somewhere that's interested in the story of other people, people that we might think are not famous or not remarkable, might be really of utmost importance to a particular group of people somewhere, whether it's in a village or a small community group or whatever it is. So there's always some kind of circumstance or location situation where life stories, biographies are of interest to other people, even within families, for example.
Mm.
So I think there is a lot of potential for this idea to grow wings. So thank you very much, Jack, for your contribution this week.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very, very much. So I look forward to seeing you next week again. And I
Sure.
hope our audience is enjoying every bit of what we have to offer. Thank you very
Sure.
much.
Thank you.
Okay.